Cool. Let's get started. So I was asked to actually do a session on onboarding to Argent, which is a bit weird, so I'll try to do my best. What I've done is actually compile some of the tutorial videos our marketing team has provided. I'll try to run them. They're short videos of 1 minute, and then pause, and then if you have questions, we can try to do that interactively. For those of you who don't have Argent and are interested, now is the right moment to download it, so we can actually try to go through the steps together and see how amazing a product it is. So let me try the first one, how you actually can create your Argent layer 2 account. And it's layer 2 because it's powered by ZK Sync. And for each video, I'll try to slow them down. All right. It's still quite fast. So basically, if you want to create a new wallet, you can click on create a new wallet. We'll ask you for a username. It used to be connected to ENS. It no longer is on layer 2, but that will come back. So you can choose your Argent username, accept terms and conditions. We do ask you for an email. That's mostly for security reasons, so we can contact you. And you need to verify your email. That's really a way to send you important security notification. We ask you for a phone number as well. Phone number is optional. So if you don't want to provide your phone, you can actually opt out of that. But if you do, we'll ask you to verify with an SMS code. You choose a password to basically encrypt your local key, and you're good to go. You should have an Argent account after a few seconds. That's kind of fast, but actually the idea is to show you that you can actually onboard to Argent in something less than a minute. I don't know if someone has already a question, if someone has actually tried and something was not working. We never know. No? Seems to be all good. All right, let's see if we can, now that we've created an Argent account, what's your normal next step? Of course, the video is playing twice. All right. So typically when you've created a blockchain account, whatever the chain, in this case it's on ZK Sync on top of Ethereum, the first thing you want to do is actually bring fund to that account because you want to have token to either pay transaction fees and interact with the dApp, or actually you want to invest your token in some DeFi protocol. So typically the second step as a user, once you've created your account, is to bring fund, to fund it. And so there's actually different ways you can do that. On Argent, you can bring funds from another wallet if you want. It can be from L1, so you can send from L1 to L2. You can send from another layer 2 account. You can ask money from a friend. And of course, the most used way is to use a non-ramp provider. So actually connect to a service that will convert fiat money, typically euro in our case, or dollars, and that will exchange that for cryptocurrencies. So how to buy crypto in Argent at layer 2. So again, in this case, you want to buy crypto, and depending on your location, we've integrated different providers. So we're working with Ramp, MoonPay. In this case, this is how it works on Ramp, I believe. You can select the crypto that you want to receive. So we provide 4 possibilities. That was quite a bit fast. Let me see if I can pause that. No. Okay, maybe you will need to come back from the start. But so today you can fund your account with 4 different cryptocurrencies. You can have ETH, you can have wrapped Bitcoin. So if you want, actually, you can be exposed to Bitcoin on Ethereum, and in this case on ZK Sync, it's just a wrapped form of Bitcoin, but you can be exposed to that. Or you can have stable coins, and for the moment we have DAI and USDC. Okay, I guess pausing is not an option. So let's go through that again. Oh, my bad. That's the problem with videos. All right, that's the one I want to play. No, sorry, up. Damn, this is terrible. Okay. So again, the step that I just explained, you select buy crypto in this case. We provide you 2 options. You select Ramp, for example. That's the person who did that is in the UK. You can choose your currency, and you can choose which token you want to receive. These are the 4 options that I just mentioned. You select the amount. You can either select the amount of token you want to receive or the amount of fiat that you want to sell. Ramp, depending on the amount, will ask you some like KYC. So in this case, an email is sufficient because it's a small amount. Again, this is not Argent running that. We are doing that through a partner. So in this case, it is Ramp. Once you've confirmed your email, we will show you the address that we receive the cryptocurrency. So this is automatically the address of your account. You choose your payment method. Again, depending on where you are, you will have different payment methods. The UK does not work like Belgium, for example. You authorize your payment, in this case with a credit card. You tap confirm and pay, and that's it. Within a few seconds, actually you will receive cryptocurrency on your Argent account. So again, going from 0 to having cryptocurrency takes you less than 5 minutes. A few minutes to set up your account, a few minutes to go through the flow of Ramp in this case. Okay, so far so good. Let me go to the next one. All right, now that you have actually funded your account, there's a few things you may want to do. One first use case is actually the ability to transfer. So if you want to send money to someone, you want to pay, you want to transfer between your accounts, again, that's something that we've made as simple as possible on the Argent application. Let me, that's why it was too fast. I need to slow it down for every video. Okay. Now that we have some fun, we can select the Send tab. We can do different things. We can send a gift. That's not something that I will show. We can send to an address that we don't know, so you can actually scan a QR code. Let's say if it's another Argent wallet, someone that you met, you can scan a QR code, or you can actually enter the username of that person. In this case, we've selected a contact that's already created. So in Argent, you can have an address book. So if you send money frequently or transfer frequently with someone, you can create an address book of addresses to make transfer easy, which is what we just did. In this case, I'm sending money to Edward. I can select the currency, the token that I want to send. So choosing ETH, I select the amount. You can see the fees. In this case, it's 24 cents. It's still a bit high. Fees on layer 2 depends on fees on layer 1. This video was actually made when fees on layer 1 were completely crazy. Today, it is, of course, much cheaper to make transaction on layer 2 because the usage of Ethereum has a little slowed down and the price of ETH is slowed down as well. In this case, we are showing you fees in dollars. Of course, the price of ETH has been divided by 2, so your fees are much smaller for now. So again, sending fund with Argent, again, it's less than a minute. I think the goal of these videos is really to show that you can do all these actions really in less than a minute. It's actually very, very fast. And I don't know what you think, but it does look like a traditional or a modern banking application. Sending fund on Revolut, for example, is exactly the same flow. So what we've tried to do is really to make something that looks like Revolut or looks like Venmo in the US, but actually this is non-custodial and this is using the blockchain. Okay, so now we've seen how we can create an account, fund an account, we can send fund to another account on zkSync or another Argent user. Now there's typically 2 things you want to do, at least in DeFi. The first one is to swap tokens, because through the on-ramp we provided you 4 options. Maybe you want to go crazy and you want to buy that cool coin that project has just created, and so for that you need to trade. So you can of course do that on Argent, and again this happens in layer 2. The benefit is that the fees are much smaller. The goal is to have every action for less than, back then it was 20 cents. I think today we are more closer than 5 to 10 cents for an action. So let's see how trading goes. Up. All right, so you select trade. You select the coin that you want to swap. So you want to sell ETH in this case, and you want to acquire another token. Swap that for another token. So we provide you a list of tokens that we support on Argent X. In this case, I'm just swapping ETH for USDC. I can select the amount, the same. I can select the amount of coin that I want to sell, or select the amount of coins that I want to buy. I can review my trade. Actually, this is a price with all fees included. So you really see the amount of USDC that you will get. Again, this has been 3 screens. So this is not even a minute. This is 30 seconds. Once you've okay with the trade that we propose you, you select trade now, and that's it. You've made your first trade. The transaction will be approved in less than 15 seconds. So in this case, with on layer 2 on zk-sync, we've integrated a decentralized exchange, so we're working with Zigzag in this case, and Paraswap. So again, this is not us operating this trade. We are just integrating an existing protocol, and we've integrated that natively into the Argent user experience. So again, swapping tokens takes 30 seconds in this case. I don't know if you have the Argent app, but I do encourage you to try. It literally takes less than 30 seconds. Okay, trading is one use case. Typically in DeFi, you want to do stuff that are a bit more interesting, and you may want to earn interest on your token. So you want to connect to a DeFi protocol. And again, within Argent, we've integrated different options. And I will show you two use cases here. One is to connect to Aave. So actually, you can take your, I don't know, you can have DAI, and you want to put that and receive a DAI in return, which will give you a yield on your DAI because you connect to Aave as a lending platform. So again, we have an Invest tab where you can select, different types of actions that you want to do. In this case, you really want to invest your token, and we will show you the tokens that you have and the maximum yield that you can get. So let me see if I can come back to that. Up. Damn, this is fast, sorry. Yeah, that's, okay, should remember not to pause. Sorry about that. The screen that I want to show, but actually it's going too fast, is that if you choose a token, we offer you different kind of DeFi protocol that you can actually connect to. And so each of these protocols will have different risk profile, but will provide you a different yield. All of this is on the blockchain, is completely self-custodial, so you connect directly, we have nothing to do. It's not like we take your funds and put them somewhere, we connect you to this protocol. And so for example, with your ETH, as I will show, you can put them in Aave, but you can connect them to Lido if you want to go to stake, or you can actually put them in Yearn, or you can do leverage. I mean, there's different options, and we've abstracted these things and packaged them so that you can actually invest your token in one action. For those who are familiar with layer 2s and with zk-sync, you will know that actually zk-sync, the zk-sync that we are using is zk-sync v1.0, which does not support smart contract yet. So you may wonder, how can we offer to connect to a protocol that is on layer 1 on layer 2? Actually, we've developed a technique called DeFi pooling, which enables us to do that in still a non-custodial way. The idea is that we provide the liquidity of this DeFi protocol to layer 2, and then you can have access to it. So in this case, we've put our ETH to Aave. That's interesting. As I was mentioning, there is different option. Aave is the one that will provide you the smallest yield of the options that we provide, but actually it's kind of a primary protocol. And that means there's less smart contract in between, and so the smart contract risk should be smaller. Aave has never had any security issues. It's kind of considered safe, but of course it's still smart contract, but the less smart contract you have, the less risk of something wrong happening you're exposing yourself to. So in this case, we can offer you Aave. If you go to something like Yearn, or you try to do leverage, then you start to wrap multiple interaction, and you may have higher yield, but of course the risk that you take as a user is a bit higher. So this one we just did. Okay, the last one is actually if you want to stake your ETH. As you know, with ETH2, you can be a validator and you can stake your ETH. Typically, you need to have 32 ETH and a node to do that, but there's a company called Lido that actually wrap that for you, and they provide you with STE, so staked ETH. And that means that you can have a token that represent a token locked as a validator, and so you can actually have yield on your ETH through Lido. And so that's something that we have integrated as well. Again, the video is 45 seconds. Up. If I slow it down, maybe it will be a minute. So again, through the Invest tab, you have ETH in your wallet, so you can select ETH because that's a token that you have. You see two different options. You select staking because that's what you want to do. You want to put your ETH to action through staking. You enter the amount. What's interesting, it's because it's extremely low fee, and because we wrap everything, you can actually invest as low as $50 if you want. Typically on L1, because of gas fees, you need to invest a minimum amount, otherwise it's not worth it. There's no point having 4% on $100 if it costs you $20 to invest that amount. But because we are on layer 2, and fees are as low as 5 or 10 cents, even putting $100 is actually worth it. Even putting $50 is worth it, because you'll still have these 4 or 5% on these $50, which will be much better, much bigger than the fee that you will pay. So that's also the interest of actually going to layer 2 and having all these wrapped action, is that I think it makes the blockchain accessible to everybody. I mean, we are all talking about it being an inclusive technology, but if it costs you $100 to do a trade, it's not really inclusive. It only works for people with a lot of funds. So I think one of the benefit of layer 2 by reducing transaction fees, that it again make the blockchain more inclusive and accessible to any person, irrespective of the assets that you want to invest. And we believe that that's quite interesting. So that was the last of the video. That's kind of a weird format. I don't know if you guys followed. Hopefully you did. I don't know if someone has questions.
Ça vous dérange pas si je pose la question en français?
Pour moi, il n'y a pas de problème, mais on m'a demandé de le faire en anglais. Mais
Vous pouvez répondre en anglais, je comprends, mais j'ai des difficultés pour m'exprimer.
je parle français, je suis francophone, donc j'arriverai à répondre en français. Mais je la traduirai peut-être en anglais si le but c'est que ce soit en anglais.
C'est sympa. Vous avez dit qu'on pouvait juste discuter d'un sujet. Pour la blockchain, Bitcoin, c'est un petit peu difficile de travailler avec les plateformes décentralisées, la DeFi aussi. Et est-ce que c'est plus accessible avec votre portefeuille ou est-ce qu'on doit passer par le WBTC? Comment ça se passe? Juste en parler en 2-3 mots. Merci beaucoup.
So the question is that DeFi on Bitcoin is not as developed as it is on Ethereum. And so the question, if you want to invest into Bitcoin, do we have to go through wrap Bitcoin, for example, or is there stuff you can do through Argent? So Argent is on the Ethereum ecosystem. So meaning that we don't connect to Bitcoin. We connect to Ethereum and we connect to layer 2s that use Ethereum as a layer 1. So, but on Ethereum, you can be exposed to Bitcoin to wrap Bitcoin. So I will not get into the detail of wrap Bitcoin. There's actually different protocol we have wrap Bitcoin. But what you can do is that you can have that token which will follow the price of Bitcoin. So you can be exposed as an investment strategy. And then you can use that token, which is then native to Ethereum. And you can actually use it in the DeFi of Ethereum. So for example, if you want to borrow, you can use wrap Bitcoin as a collateral on Aave. And then you can withdraw DAI. So yes, you can have access to DeFi based on Bitcoin. But again, everything is happening on Ethereum. And so on Argent, the only touch point to Bitcoin that we have is through wrap token that exposes you to the price of Bitcoin. But then it becomes a native asset of Ethereum, and you can use that asset into DeFi. I just realized that I replied to your French question in English, so I'm not sure. This made sense? It was good? Okay, cool.
So what would happen if Argent went to go bankrupt? How would you as we as users get back the access, especially since from what I understood, there is this wallet lives on 2 different layers, Ethereum mainnet and then ZK Sync. Yep. And if you only open an account on ZK Sync, then it's not really on mainnet, or?
That's a very good question. And so I think that's a design decision that we take seriously at Argent, is that from day one, we've built all our products such that we can disappear. So the answer is yes, we can disappear. Hopefully it will not happen. The way it works on ZK Sync is that actually your account on ZK Sync on the layer 2 is the same address as an account on layer 1. And that account on layer 1 can actually do a special write on the account on layer 2. Okay? So typically, if you have an Argent account on layer 1, and we disappear and you want to exit your fund from ZK Sync, you can do that because you can make a transaction from your layer 1 account and say, hey, this is my account on layer 2, give me back the funds. Of course, the goal of layer 2 is to enable cheap onboarding to the blockchain. So the majority of our users today, they don't have a layer 1 account. But actually, there's something on layer 1 which is called Create 2, which enable you to deploy smart contract counterfactually, and Argent is a smart contract wallet. What that means is that we can give you an address on layer 2 that corresponds to an Argent smart contract on layer 1 that has not yet been deployed. So you don't pay for that cost, but actually, if you're on board to Argent, we will send you the payload to deploy that account at that address. So the day we disappear, you will have to pay for that transaction, but you can take that payload through your MetaMask. You can, at that moment, deploy the Argent account on L1. That controls your account on layer 2, and you can withdraw your fund.
Very much. Actually, I've got 2 questions. The first one, I just created my account, and I was surprised there's no seed phrase to create the account.
Yes.
And the second one is about Lido. I read there was a risk of depeg of the stake Ethereum. And what's your position on this?
Yep. So with respect to the seed phrase, so at Argent, that's the first thing that we wanted to crack is to get rid of seed phrase. And so that I gave a presentation earlier this morning, and for that, we've pioneered what's something called social recovery. So because we are a smart contract wallet, you can actually program the account such that if you lose the owner key, the main key, you can have a guardian. So it's another account that you trust that can trigger a specific transaction and give you back access. Okay? So through that, you can get rid of seed phrase. Now, on ZK Sync, we are in an intermediary transition because the ZK Sync today, it's what's called ZK Sync V1, and it does not yet have full smart contract support. So there's a few native operations that are programmed on ZK Sync, but you cannot do the full range of a Turing-complete machine like Ethereum. And so that means that today on ZK Sync V1, we don't use social recovery. So what we do, and again, this is a transition period. ZK Sync is about to launch V2, and at that point, the accounts on V1 will be migrated to V2 with a full smart contract. But during that transition period, what we do, in a sense, you can see that we are basically splitting your key in two. And you can keep part of that secret if you want, that you download to your iCloud, to your Google Cloud, and there's another component that we keep to ourselves. And so that means that we don't have access to your fund, but the day you have lost your phone and you need to do that recovery, you can actually authenticate yourself to a platform using the part of the key, the split that you have locally, you can recombine it and get back access to your key. So it is a bit less clean, I think, than social recovery, but unfortunately, on what ZK Sync can do today, that's the best that we can do. It's still non-custodial, it's still under your control, but it's partly off-chain, while social recovery is fully on-chain. So that was for question number 1. Question number 2, so yes, the peg between STEs and ETH has changed, but that's for secondary market. Your STEs still represent 1 ETH, that has been locked on ETH2. And so the day the merge happen and people can actually withdraw your funds from validating, your STEs will be worth 1 ETH exactly. So my take, and again, I'm not an expert in that, but I do believe the fundamentals haven't changed. I think we are closer to the merge. If you invested in stake ETH 6 months ago, we are closer to the merge. So there's less risk of the merge not happening. So you know that at some point, your STEs will be redeemable for 1 ETH exactly, and that peg will be 1-1. The problem is that with everything happening on the market, secondary market have been affected, and so yes, today, if you want to sell your STEs, they are worth a bit less than 1 ETH. But so, personally, I do have STEs as well. I'll just wait for the merge to happen, and then 5 or 6 months after that, I will be able to trade my STEs for 1 ETH exactly. So I do believe it's a transactionary state, and I don't think the fundamentals have changed from the moment that I invested into STEs and what's happening today.
Thanks a lot, that was very clear. Yeah, we are running out of time, so we need to go to the next demo, but thanks a lot, that was very clear. And the product is very sleek.